yeah, I played with just the boys, and like I used to wear a headgear, so I stood out and had big plait that
Yeah,
hung out
yeah.
the back of the headgear. But I still remember being like 6 and playing, and you could hear mums and dads on the sideline being like, "Is that a girl?" Like, and you'd be thinking, "What? Like, am I not meant to be here?" And then
Yeah, good start.
okay. All right. Welcome to the first episode of Is That a Girl podcast. My name's Katie, and I've got Benny Hodge here as well. We just thought there's no real platform out there for women's sport within Australia. So we want to give them an opportunity to tell their stories, how they want to tell them, and then we'll be able to ask some questions along the way. We also want to highlight female athletes in Australia, not just present, but past and emerging. We have a lot of young girls coming up, especially in the NRL. The cricket is just booming at the moment. So we want to give the young girls a platform to talk as well. So, Benny, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, my name is Benny Hodge. We, like Katie said, we're sort of just got into it. Katie came up with the idea a little bit. I've been running with a podcast sort of based around the NRL, just the men's NRL, with a couple of other guys that I'm mates with. And she came up with the idea of probably touching on more of the female side of the NRL, but that's sort of now expanded into all sports and athletes in Australia. So a bit about myself, if you didn't see the post on Instagram, I'm 36, live in Brisbane at the moment. Grew up in Western Sydney, Kiama and Hobart. I'm a massive Panther supporter and predominantly probably rugby league supporter. I do play AFL, but I don't really watch a great deal of it. And so I lived in Western Sydney till I was about 5 or 6. Played my first football there for the Ashcroft Stallions. I actually don't know if they're still a team at the moment. But then we moved down to Kiama and I played for the Kiama Knights for 4 or 5 years. Then moved down to Tasmania and had to give up my rugby league career and started playing ice hockey for about 5 years. Then after I left Hobart, I got back into league, and then I've been at AFL for the Ipswich Cats for, I think it's in my 5th season now. But yeah, very keen to get into the female athlete side of things, especially in Australia. I think when sport's going good in Australia, the country's going pretty well. And it's not just for the guys. There's plenty of female athletes out there that are killing it at the moment. And there doesn't seem to be too much of a platform for them to just talk to people about what they go through and their preparations and that sort of stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, so no footy in Tassie?
No, none. I think at one point the sort of union got a little bit bigger. But I was just sort of like, I think I went to a couple of training sessions, but I wasn't really exposed that much to union. It was all about league. And then I think that's sort of growing a little bit. Like they definitely have some sort of Tasmanian league down there, but I think it's like 4 teams or something. So rubbish. And
big.
This was like late 90s, early 2000s. So no one was into it at all. And when I first got down there, I thinking it was grade 4. And the guy's like, oh, like at lunchtime, I'll come like play footy with us and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, like mad. That's what I always did in Sydney. And then I went out there and they're just playing AFL. It's like, what the fuck is this? I had no idea what was going on. And I got into it probably a little bit down there. I followed the Bombers for a long time. Probably more so just because that's what everyone did. Like grand final days and everything were massive down there.
Yeah, just jumped on the bandwagon.
Pretty much, yeah. But as soon as I left and sort of started following league more so, I just got straight back into it. Like it's just
Did you happen to play against any girls when you played footy or hockey or anything?
Ice hockey, yeah. There was definitely one, and she was a bit of a gun. I think she actually ended up going to Canada or America on some sort of like scholarship thing. there was that one, and then there was another one that was like pretty decent. But they were both sort of like the age groups were. I think I played like seniors from like 14, I think, to 17.
Yeah, right.
Like it was a pretty big thing. So and I remember that all those girls were a little bit older, like a couple of years older than me. But they
Yeah.
were good, man. Like they were like
Yeah.
they were
I
beating.
find that the girls that play in the all guys teams, it's like they've got to step up. So their skill level just like peaks. Like it just goes like above like if they were playing with just girls when they were younger.
100%.
It's like almost like proving a point, like they deserve to be there.
One thing I don't remember a lot though is when I was playing when I played league sort of between 5 and 11.
Yeah.
I don't remember ever like there was definitely never any girls on my team, and I don't ever really remember playing against too many, which is interesting because I thought that was pretty
was that 80s or 90s?
9. It's probably like 1990 to like 96.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Which is interesting because I thought there would have been more, but I don't ever, I mean, there might have been, but I just don't ever remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly. I'll just like touch on that with my intro. I also grew up in Western Sydney, and we both know what it's like there growing up. Everything's just sport related. Like there's not a lot of money in Western Sydney, so I guess a lot of the families, they tend to play sport, and that's what the kids do when they're growing up. But I grew up in a really footy orientated family. Like my dad's coached footy from like as long as I can remember. And, you know, he played down at Wenny when I was younger, and my mum's a massive Para fan. So I'm now a massive Para fan, and like I feel like I really had no choice in the matter. But I grew up playing footy with my cousins, cricket with my cousins, like family, everything. We went to like Christmases, birthdays, whatever. It was all like competitive sport. It wasn't for fun. No one played for fun. And it was just like, we're going to play. And I had my older cousins, the guys just come in, ripping in like tennis balls at me, like full pelt, massive run-ups. Like, but I feel like that for me was one of the best things to grow up in. Like I'm competitive, and I learned to like mingle with the guys. But yeah, anyway, so grew up in Western Sydney, was born in Blacktown, so lived around that area for the first 12 years, and then I moved to the Central Coast where sport's still big there, but not as big as it was in Sydney. Obviously living in Brisbane now for work. So me and Benny, we met at work. We're both fireys in the RAF. That's pretty much where I'm at now. I don't play sport anymore. I grew up playing everything. So I played rugby league, netball, I swam. I did a little athletics, which I think most kids did in Western Sydney on a Friday night or Saturday morning. I danced for a little bit. My mum soon realised that dancing probably wasn't for me. Bit too rough. Didn't really have the attention span for it. But yeah, played pretty much everything. School sport was like massive for me. I was always out there playing with the boys, like in primary school and high school, and pretty much any opportunity I got to take a day off school for sport, I was in. Like I played grass hockey once, and I don't know anything about hockey, but the coach was just like, Katie, can you play? I was like, oh, I can hit a ball. Like I play cricket. So surely I'll be right. Yeah. Like played water polo, you name it. I probably played it. And yeah, since joining the RAF, I haven't really played much sport, which is probably a little bit strange because I thought joining the RAF, I'd play sport. I think I thought I'd play a lot more, but like we both know what it's like. It's pretty busy there. So yeah, hopefully you can get back into it soon. Might put on the old netball shoes this year and see how I go.
It's funny you say about you're talking about Western Sydney and how it's such a big sport culture out there. It sort of just clicked as you said it. Especially when I was growing up, like I have all my family and stuff, especially from my dad's side, is still sort of in and around that like Liverpool, Fairfield area.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that like thinking back now, and I don't know whether it's just because I'm old and I don't really pay that much attention to it or whatever, but every single time we would go to visit cousins or do any sort of family stuff, I had predominantly boy cousins.
Yeah, me too.
There's so many parks around, and
yeah,
constantly you just like run across the street to like a bunch of kids that you probably would never have met, and you got like a full-on 13-on-13 football game going.
yeah,
And I don't know why, like I said, I don't know whether it's just because I don't pay attention too much to it anymore, but you just don't, I don't know whether it's just that area and if it's still happening there or whatever the go is, but I just don't really, especially up here, I don't notice it. Like I'd never
I don't really see it
together and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, we were the same. Like family, like Christmases, we'd be at Narrangin Reserve. I don't know if you know it, but it's in Blacktown. It's big.
Yeah.
Like it's just like full of parklands, really.
Yeah.
And we would have Christmases down there, big open grassland, and there'd be 20, 30 of us, big family playing cricket, and then by the end of it, there's 50 people because people are coming in. Yeah, and it was great, and you'd hand them the bat, and you think, oh, like they don't know what's coming for them here. But no, it was good fun, and really, really enjoyed it. But like, I'm the same with you. I don't see anything around here like that at all.
Which is weird because you'd think, I don't know, just sort of that Queensland culture of being outside and doing stuff. Would sort of coincide with it, but I don't know. So when you played sport growing up, did you play predominantly just girls organised sport?
Yes and no. Like netball obviously was just girls.
Yeah.
I think I remember playing against a couple of boys, but I never played with the guys in netball. But rugby league, I played with the boys. I was only like 6 and 7 when I played, but I didn't really come against many girls. And when I did, it was maybe like one little shy girl that I don't know if her dad was like, come play footy. But I played with just the boys, and like I used to wear a headgear. So I stood out and had big plait that hung out the back of the headgear. But I still remember being like 6 and playing, and you could hear mums and dads on the sideline being like, is that a girl? Like, and you'd be thinking, what? Like, am I not meant to be here? And then you could hear people being like, telling their kids, just tackle her. Like, she's just a girl, just tackle her. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I played against some guys that didn't care that I was a girl, and, they'd give me a little elbow, 7-year-olds like getting up, tackle me, give me a little bit of roughing up. But some guys wouldn't even want to tackle me. I don't know. It was like, I don't know if they were scared to hurt me or they just didn't know how to play with and against girls.
I find it, we'll find it a little bit interesting to see because obviously girls sort of had to play with the guys up until I think about 13, and then they didn't really have 13. Any sort of competitions to play in after that, which is probably why the sort of grassroots suffered a little bit. It'll be interesting to see now that girl participation is so big now, whether they're going to be able to field only girls competitions from a really young age, and whether or not, like, I don't know whether or not they gained anything by playing against the boys and sort of getting that toughness and that sort of thing. Yeah. And going up into the 13s and then starting to play the female leagues, or whether or not if they start playing complete girl competitions straight off the bat.
Yeah. I think for the girls, like having a young team, so from 6-year-olds being able to play with all the girls would be better. I've seen some of the boys that play, 10, 11-year-olds, especially Western Sydney, some big boys are playing, and you think, if I had a daughter that was like 10 or 11, no way would I want her to be tackling like boys like that, like 80, 90 kilos. You're kidding.
Most boys don't want to be like, they had to bring this thing about weight ranges because like the participation even in young boys was slipping because there was there's like the weight differences were getting way too big. Yeah,
which is just crazy. So I think having the girl comp from the start, and then they don't have to play with the boys and then go to the girls comp. I think just having the girls comp would just benefit them and probably expand whatever sport they're playing as well. Because I know a lot of the parents would probably be happy to send their girls in to play against just girls, where they'd probably be second guessing if there's big boys playing in the team.
Even increasing the participation levels, you would have to think that having girl-only competitions would entice girls way more to be like, oh, well, there's like a bunch of girls doing it, so it's not that out of the ordinary for me to want to go and play.
Yeah, exactly.
Sport.
Yeah, I was back home a couple of months ago. My little sister, she's 15 and she plays rugby league now, and it was obviously an all girls comp, and so many injuries because they didn't play it growing up. Like
that's the thing, yeah,
their bodies just aren't conditioned to being hit and then trod on, and like hand injuries, and just there was so much. Like even the game I watched, I think 2-3 girls went off injured, and one was like a broken leg or a broken arm. It was something, and I was just like, oh my god, like how do you even keep 17 girls on a team when you're constantly getting injuries
and long-term injuries too, like broken bones?
Yeah,
it's like you started saying. I think it comes back to a lot as well of when you grow up playing, like not just rugby, like any sort of contact sport.
Yeah.
After a while, you learn how to even just fall and learn how to be able to brace yourself without hurting yourself, and even tackling and all those sort of technical things go a long way. So I think, once it's already, I don't know the exact stats on it, but I'm assuming that the participation levels in much younger girls these days is probably growing quite a lot. But give it 10 years, I can't see it being anything but massive.
Yeah, I think even with like the girls out there now playing and how big they're becoming, like footy, you've got like Ali Brigginshaw. She's just like the epitome of women's sport at the moment. Like how many grand finals has she won? She's captain Australia, Queensland.
They're becoming legitimate superstars. Like
100%. Yeah. Like girls and little boys you see running up to them like they want their autograph, and like massive role models to these young kids. And it just shows, I guess, they didn't really have the opportunity that the girls today are going to have, and they've still got there. So it's definitely going to give the younger generation a pathway to go through, and it'll be massive by the time they're 20 and playing in A grade footy, or like for Australia in the cricket or whatever.
I tell you, any girl that is sort of 12 and up at the moment that has any sort of athletic ability has so many options at the moment. If the sport's something that they want to do as a career, be it AFL, NRL, like so many of these competitions, like they're not going to go down. They're not going to decrease in popularity. It's only going to get bigger. So if any of those girls out there that are even a little bit interested, or even doing what you did, playing like those typical female sports of like netball and all that sort of stuff, that want to go and do something different, the chances for them to be able to do that and make an actual legitimate career out of it is crazy at the moment.
Yeah, I think the only thing with that, like right now, and we're going to touch on that when we talk to these female athletes, will be the pay gap. And like you've got, say, the NRL guys that play for 10, 12 years, and they get paid good money. And then they if they're smart about it, they can get investment properties or whatever. So once they retire, they've got something to fall back onto. But the girls, most of them, they work full time, they play sport, when they can, like, or they it's frustrating because you see these elite female athletes and they're training before, after work, and then, they go to work and then they've got to play like footy on the weekend, and perform at like the top level. And the money difference is crazy.
Even just I've thought a lot about it, and I sort of, part of me, I can understand the business side of it as far as bringing in the money to make the money, which I still kind of tend to agree with, but I think more so, which I think is more important, is that they need the opportunity to bring in the money. So it's not just about female teams aren't bringing in the crowds and doing all that sort of stuff. But it's still like, well, of course they're not, because they're not getting their State of Origin game on before the men's game. They're not getting 3 games of Origin a year. Their seasons are played predominantly during the finals, and up until recently, I don't think they were even played before the men's games. So it's like, if you want them to, like, I agree that they need to progress towards being able to be full-time athletes.
Yeah.
But the NRL and the AFL and all these big organisations need to start giving them the platform to do it, because I guarantee if you look back through the stats, especially just TV viewing of, especially NRLW, but I believe so the same with AFLW, the viewing for those is pretty decent. Like, it's not that small. People are interested in it, but you can't be having their Origin as a one-off game played on the Sunshine Coast or played on like North Sydney at a random time that doesn't really fit in with the guys. Like, give them the platform to play the curtain raisers and have people at the stadiums that are already there to watch the men's game.
Yeah.
So many people will get there early to watch the female.
100%.
Like it's just it's a fact.
Yeah.
To start bringing in those, I can sort of understand the competition as far as, I like the way the NRL's done it, where it's a bit of a slow burn. They stayed with 4 teams for a while, and they're expanding to, I think it's 6.
6. I think they got 3 new teams this year, but they lost one. Warriors aren't coming to play this year. Yeah.
So I kind of agree that they're doing it slowly so they keep the talent up, which I think has worked.
Yeah.
But I agree as far as the team, so you're not spreading the talent out too thinly. But the season has to be longer. Like, you have to start.
Yeah.
Like, if it's going to be an NRLW competition, it has to be proper seasons. Like, whether or not they're up to standard to do, or if they even really want to do the full seasons yet. But at least it can't just be like the best of
4 rounds.
4 rounds over the men's finals. Like, that's what are we doing here? Like, that's surely we figured out that we could make it like much longer and coinciding with things and play their grand final before the men's grand final. Like, do all that stuff. So
could you imagine that day, grand final day, having the girls play before the guys? Like, we used to have SG ball play, like it was New South Wales Cup versus Queensland Cup play. And then it was the grand final. Imagine the girls there just before the NRL to play.
Massive. It'd be massive.
Huge.
Heaps of people go watch it. You're going to have other, like, let's just say the Parramatta team plays St George for the NRLW, but then you've got like Penrith and the Storm playing for the men's. You're going to have a shitload of St George people turned up and a shitload of Parramatta people turning up to watch the game beforehand. So you sort of like, you're doubling on the interest in and around the day. So, I mean, I get that they're sort of taking their time with it and making sure that it's all good, but it's been going for what, 5 years?
4 years?
4 or 5 years. Like, I'm sure we can sort of start to speed the process up a little bit now.
Yeah, surely there's money there that can help with that. There has to be. I don't know if, they take a portion from the NRL to put towards the NRLW, because I think there is a lot of money in the NRL, and some of the guys are on $1 million a year. Yeah. Like, what's the difference between them getting $1 million and 900K? Like, you could put that money towards the girls and just see how much it blows up.
They'd be making that money out of revenue anyway.
Yeah.
Like, if they put them, like, surely it'd cost more money to have these games at a different venue and ticket sales and all the stuff at a different, like, you're having it at the same venue. You're just extending the amount of time that you're there. You're going to have more ticket sales. You're going to have more people buying food and drinks at that stadium. All these stadiums that they want to, like, make all their money off, like all these like Suncorps and like the bigger stadiums around. Put them all together. Make it a bigger day. Make it more of a spectacle rather than just concentrating wholly and solely on the men's and then having the females competition as a separate identity. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. But even this year, like the NRLW, yeah, it's expanded, but when's the season starting? There's nothing. There's no fixtures. There's no talk about anything. Like from what I've heard, it's been pushed back because of, you know, all the lockdowns, all the COVID lockdowns, and, you know, each state having their own issues. Does it end up being, you know, like a 3-game comp again, or a 4-game comp, and then there's a grand final? Does each team only play each other once? Like, I don't think that gives them the opportunity to showcase their skills as athletes. And I just think it's the fairness in that. It's dismal, really.
I just don't see that like there's a market for it out there. So even from a business point of view, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me because people are interested in it.
Yeah.
And it's shown over the years that that's growing dramatically and people want to see it. So what are you doing? It's not like you're going to be losing money out of it, surely. You can put them in a bubble like everyone else up here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Well, they do that with the netball. Like, the netball comp has come, you know, it's massive now, really. Like when I was growing up, you had people like Kath Cox and Liz Ellis playing, and they were like your superstars of Australian netball, but that was it, really. Like, you just had that one team, and then you had like all the comp, but these women played netball, you know, 4, 5, 6 times a week, training and playing whatever, but they also have full-time jobs. I remember going to seminars, and these women were like, we all work because there's no money in it, there's nothing. But I know a lot of the girls today, a lot of them just play netball, which is great. So, you know, like, small steps, different sports are coming along, but there's so much more that needs to kind of catch up with that. And they're male dominated sports, really. Like women's cricket, we're on fire. Like, we're so good. And men's cricket, you know, when I was younger, we were the top, we were the team to beat, but now we're just on par really with everyone else, or below. But women's cricket in Australia, they're just like killing it, like on top all the time. But you can't see it on the TV. Like, you struggle to find a channel that's like showing their games or anything.
Like, give them a platform to have the
But like, even
Ash, I was going to say, there's so many channels now too. It's not like you're not working with 7, 9, 10, ABC, SBS. Like, there's a million channels on Foxtel you can use. Channel 7 has 3 or 4. Channel 10 has 3 or 4. Channel 9 has more than probably 2 or 3. Like, probably there's opportunity. Like, people in Australia love to watch sport. Like, predominantly, like, the highest rating shows in this country are to do with sport. Put it on, for God's sake. Let's just not.
I when I was watching Ash Barty play recently, I missed, I think it was a semi. I think it might have been late. Anyways, bit of a grandma here, and I went to bed early and thought, won't look at my phone when I wake up. I'll jump on KO as soon as I get up, and I'll watch the rematch. Nothing. Couldn't find it. Couldn't watch it. I think, was it on Channel 7 or something? But there was no replays. And I just thought, how crazy that this woman, you know, is number one in the world in this sport, and I can't find a replay to watch.
And I mean, KO, the amount of bullshit that they have on there every single day. There's like, I swear to God, on KO, I watched, it wasn't, if that was probably like 2 weeks ago, I was watching some like youth, like baseball championship in Australia. So it wasn't even like an American youth baseball thing. Like, it was one that was in Australia. And they had that on for, I think it was something like 5 hours. And I watched that for ages. But you can't watch
Ash Barty.
Like, makes no sense. It's unbelievable.
Nah, it's crazy. Yeah. And I think, like you said before, they're not giving women's sport the opportunity to bring in the money. Like, that brings in the money. Like, I'm pretty sure the ads pay for the sport or whatever. Huge. So just play it. And you know what? If it doesn't get the numbers, then just do what you do with everything else that doesn't get numbers and put it on the crappier channels that no one watches. So it's still there if people want to watch it. Like, no one needs to watch reruns of The Simpsons, every day.
600 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane.
So that's definitely something I want to bring up when we do talk to these athletes, how they manage their time between, staying on top of their work plus sport, plus, they've all got families too. Like, they've got home lives. A lot of them, are married with kids, and how the hell do we expect them to balance all that and still perform at a top level? Like, it's just crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Especially even like, and then fitting in having kids in that time too.
Yeah.
Like, sort of like in their athletic prime is sort of like your prime for having children as well. So it's like,
yeah, which the guys obviously don't have to worry about. So, they play their careers out, and they have their partners have the kids, and they're good to go once they retire. They've got their partner there and their kids and their money, and, happy days. But the girls, like, if they want to have a baby, it's just like, cool. Well, if I play for 5 years and have a baby, then do I even get the chance to come back and play elite level sport after it?
Well, it's pretty much, you're looking at 18 months straight away, like physically, to be able to be ready to get back out there. And don't even like, that's not even taking into consideration of like the actual responsibility of the child. Outside of that, so it's just like purely just on a physical level, you're looking at 18 months out of it. So it's like, I think that's where, like, if you want to keep these elite players in and around the game and let them have like some sort of like longevity in their career, all of these things sort of lead to, like you're saying about the pay and becoming full-time and all these other things. Even if they're doing stuff with the clubs that they're aligned with, like, surely there's enough stuff, clinics, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's opportunity out there. I think it's just they need to be given more of an opportunity to earn that money.
Yeah, definitely.
It'd be interesting that's definitely to hear their points of view about what it's like from their perspective, because obviously we're sort of from the outside looking in. But
so that'll be something we touch on. But I think what else we wanted to touch on was we spoke about the pay gap and the media coverage, and then the family side of it. But we talk about mental health a lot with like men's sport, and men not speaking up, and it's great that it's all coming out, but where do these girls kind of worry about their own mental health too? Like, is that support given to them? And there's just so much that we all don't know, and I'll be very interested to hear like their opinions on everything, and if they do have the support that is coming in for all the guys at the moment.
Oh yeah, for sure. Listen, it's hard sort of looking from the outside in. You don't have a lot of the information. You don't really know what it's like for them day to day. Like, you can only sort of go off sort of what's been put out there. I'm really interested to know. And even just like over different sports, like obviously you've got the big organizations with the NRLW, the AFLW, to an extent probably the cricket, and obviously the netball is growing high. But what about like surfing and all these other sports, MMA, like all these other sports where they're sort of not really aligned with big organizations, and how, because surely that must be a nightmare sometimes. To try and figure out their sporting career / life balance.
Another thing with that too, we haven't even mentioned it, the Matildas, the soccer, the football, whatever you want to call it.
That's what I was going to say.
Massive. Like, football here in Australia is not really big at all.
Well, it's bigger than it's ever been, though. It's
definitely, but women's sport and women's football is not very big, but overseas is huge. The money over there is great. So these girls are going, to Sweden to play, to the UK to play, and getting the money for it, and probably getting paid really good money. But we're in COVID at the moment. So are they families or here in Australia? Why they go play, 6-7 months of the season over there? And then do they come back? Or like, there is so much that we don't know, obviously. within their personal lives and how they deal with it. So like even now the Olympics, yeah, like the Olympics now, no one's families are probably over there watching them, and you've probably got a lot of people, a lot of girls, young girls that are debuting for the first time, like for their country as an Olympian, and they won't have a crowd, they won't have their family there. Completely different atmosphere.
Huge bummer,
yeah, but like it's great that it's still got the go ahead, and then it's great that we've got don't we have the World Cup here or something in the next few years? I think in Brizzy 2023 or 2024,
the Olympics.
No, we got that in 2032.
So
we got, I think,
like the World Cup, like the soccer World Cup.
Yeah, like
really?
I think the women's one or something. Yeah, I have to look it up, but we've got something here in the next couple of years, which is great, because then I guess that gives all those women that normally are on the other side of the world the opportunity to play in front of their family, which recently they don't really have. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, we probably talked everyone's ears off just about how much we don't want, we hate that there's a massive gap in sport, but no, I'm really looking forward to speaking to a couple of these athletes really soon. We'll try and get that first potty out, or the second one out, with our first athlete next week. We'll be in talks in the next couple of days and let everyone know who we've got on the show. That'd
be good. And if anyone wants to come on, we're open to everyone.
Yeah.
So hit us up.
Tell your friends.
If you have a story you want to share with us, we'd be more than welcome to have everyone on. So
if you've got, your cousin's, brother's, uncle's daughter, I don't know what that is, but yeah, let her know. We want to hear from her. We don't care if they're 15 or 105. We want to hear from you.
It's definitely not just about current quote unquote superstars. It's about everyone. So
definitely.
Yeah. If you've got a good story to tell, we want to hear from you.
Definitely.
Perfect. All right. Good one.
Awesome.
Good first out.
Yeah. Yep.
See you next time.
Bye.